I started gambling on dog racing when I was 10, 11, but prior to that, when I was in the orphanage, they used to play marbles up the wall, and you'd exchange the marbles for sweets, and then you'd change the sweets for cigarettes. Coming from sort of a poor family, money was a big player to me. I don't say it is to everybody who winds up being a compulsive gambler, but for me personally, probably it was. When I was sort of 10, 11 years old, I was doing 2 paper rounds, one in the morning, one at night. I was moving vegetables from the fruit and veg shop on a Saturday morning and then taking them out and putting them back on a Saturday afternoon. I was washing cars on a Sunday, and I was going down Catford Dogs 4 nights a week. I got £1 a night to run from the cheap side to the dear side to get the shows and report back to the cheap side what price the big bookmakers on the other side was laying their favourites, etc. The first time I went in the dog track was when we all bunked in. There was about 10 of us. The dogs was running, the lights was off, they was all cheering, the lights come back on, and it was like, well, it was just beautiful. You had all the fairy lights and the colours, and it was just, for me at that particular moment, it was just so pleasant to see, sort of thing, you know. It's a bit like people who want to become dancers or musicians. They see something fantastic, or they want to be in sports. They think, oh, I wish I could do that. And for whatever reason, me and the other 10 people who was there, I was the only one who fell in love with it. For me, I think it was a case of I didn't mind if I lost. I used to compare losing with, say, being in the orphanage or getting a good ID or being bullied, and I'd think to myself, well, that's nowhere near as bad as those things. So me to lose wasn't a problem. Yeah. I was a bit sad when I was kicked out of the house. I had to get a bed sit, but having said that, I was also glad to be out of the house, you know, because then I could do my own thing. Also, once I started to get towards the age of 17, it was about the chase thing. I was financially losing my wages. I was actually in St Martin's when I was about 17, and it was one big room. I don't know if you recall that, but it just used to be, you didn't have the night shelves, and that was just a day centre. I became homeless on a number of occasions then. I think gambling's so different now because it is 24/7. In my day it wasn't 24/7, but it is today, and therefore all walks of life and all types of people, it's staring them in the face. It wasn't staring me in the face when I was a young lad, you know, but nowadays, unfortunately, you know, it's almost as if these gambling sites and gambling companies are saying basically, have a great way of life by gambling, enjoy yourself, and not accepting the consequences for what takes place with people who have maybe not of a strong personality or strong nature. Referring back to 3.5 years ago when I was last at St Martin's in September 2009, there was many people who come to this building, and you could see them in the arcades, you could see them in the bookmakers. I can't say as I've seen them in the casinos, but I did see them in the bookmakers, and I did see them in the arcades in Leicester Square. And I see their faces when they've done their last bit of money, and now they just slumped out the shops. Now everything is related to gambling, on the TV, in the newspapers, in the advertisements, and for homeless people or anything like that, it's an opportunity to maybe win £40–50 to go down to King's Cross or Victoria and have a lovely warm bed for the night with a bit of breakfast in the morning, or even to win the money to buy a new sleeping bag because the other one's fucking trashed, you know. And now the machines seems to be the first choice of a first-time player, if you like, because they're so easy to work and they're so simple and the money's so quick. You only have to watch somebody for 5 minutes to get the hang of the bloody thing. I was quite surprised it was so glitzy. Casinos aren't normally as glitzy as that, but that's a new one. It's only been open for a few years, I would imagine. The staff were very polite who we spoke to, over too polite, but that's all part of their job. There's all encouragement there to join up as a membership, encouragement to eat or drink in there.
Although we could just walk in, couldn't we? Well, we did. We walked right in, we walked around. And
we wasn't asked for any identification. Absolutely no ID, we could have been anybody. They encourage people to try a meal in there, you know, a glamorous night out, and that's how people can possibly start playing. But to be able to walk in a casino off the street without any checks whatsoever, in the old days you'd have had to have 3 references in 48 hours. You'd have had to wear a suit and a tie, but in there there's people on the machines in a t-shirt and jeans. They say about the rock bottom, but I think it's all the rock bottoms added together that becomes finally too much. And 2009 was it. I couldn't do what I was doing anymore. With the Albert St Martins and a few other people, I got referred to a rehab. I can name it, it's Golden House. I spoke to the people there, they don't mind. I only had one more love in my life that I would have definitely lost if I'd not gone there. That's my daughter Lucy. Because I would have treated her the way I had done it previously, and it would have continued. And she'd met up with a guy, and she was at uni. And there would have been a day when I would have phoned her up, and the phone would have been picked up. She wouldn't have answered it. But, you know, thanks to Golden House and the rehab, over 3.5 years clean. It's just so nice not to have the people who are looking for you, the cars that pull up, the people who give you idings when you ain't paid back the money, the finance companies, the banks, the personal money that you owe personal people, to not have to hide, to not have to be ashamed every single day of what you've done.